From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday called on Filipinos to reflect on the enduring legacy of Dr. Jose Rizal, urging the nation to embrace his ideals and continue his work toward a just and progressive society as the country commemorates the 128th anniversary of his martyrdom. President Marcos, in his Rizal Day message, said, "The national hero's vision of a just and forward-thinking society is no less alive today than it was more than a century ago." The president urged Filipinos to not only remember Rizal's sacrifices, but also to take to heart the ideals that fueled the revolution for independence. The chief executive emphasized that the values of patriotism, truth, and dedication to the welfare of the people that Rizal espoused remain crucial to the country's progress. President Marcos Jr. encouraged Filipinos to embody these values in their daily lives, whether in service to their communities, in the pursuit of knowledge, or in working toward the upliftment of the marginalized. The Philippine president, along with the First Family, led a wreath-laying ceremony at the Rizal National Monument in Manila on Monday morning. In addition to the main ceremony in Manila, similar flag-raising and wreath-laying rites were conducted in key locations across the Philippines, with local government units or LGUs and organizations hosting their own activities. The National Historical Commission of the Philippines and other government agencies also lined up activities such as educational exhibits, cultural shows, and community programs to celebrate Rizal's life and teachings.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still on Monday, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. signed into law the General Appropriations Act or GAA for fiscal year 2025, marking a pivotal moment in the administration's commitment to economic growth and social development during a ceremony at the Ceremonial Hall in Malacañang Palace. Republic Act or RA number 12116, titled "An Act Appropriating Funds for the Operation of the Government of the Republic of the Philippines from January 1st to December 31st, 2025, has undergone careful and meticulous review to ensure alignment with the administration's objectives in achieving the Philippine Development Plan or PDP 2023 to 2028. The 2025 national budget underscores the administration's commitment to social services, education, and health, while also addressing the critical needs for infrastructure development and agricultural support. Moreover, this measure prioritizes green investment and disaster preparedness, aiming to enhance resilience against natural calamities. The signing of the 2025 national budget represents a significant step forward in reaffirming the administration's commitment to building a Bagong Pilipinas or New Philippines. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
As we embrace the holiday season, with the joy of Christmas filling our hearts and the new year inspiring hope and new possibilities, we are reminded that it is also a time for reflection and for resolve. Just as families use this time to plan for the year ahead, so too must government dedicate ourselves to fortifying the foundation that we have laid down for a better future for the country. On this day that we honor our national hero, we enact the 2025 General Appropriations Act. And through this measure, the dreams of our heroes are realized by a nation birthed by their sacrifices. This budget reflects our collective commitment to transforming economic gains into meaningful outcomes for every Filipino. It is designed not just to address our present need, but to sustain growth and to uplift the lives of generations that are yet to come. In the first 2 years of this administration, we focused on creating the foundation for an inclusive, sustainable, and resilient Philippines. From targeted reforms to strategic investments, we ensure that our progress is felt in the daily lives of every Filipino. Today, we build on that momentum, guided by the same precision, purpose, and unwavering determination. In my State of the Nation address last July, I called for the full cooperation of Congress to approve the budget in their usual timely manner and to adhere to the administration's proposed budget as closely as possible. With the passing of the fiscal year 2025 General Appropriations Act, the responsibility of ensuring that every centavo is spent wisely, transparently, and purposefully begins. Cognizant that our resources are finite and our people's needs are plenty, we need to carefully curate the particulars of the budget. So much so that even grand ambitions and great plans must be tempered. We must exercise maximum prudence, otherwise we run the risk of increasing our deficit and debt and derailing our development agenda for our country. While the final version of the budget reflects many of our shared priorities, some provisions required careful scrutiny. The Filipino people have spoken. Every centavo must go to programs that truly uplift lives, strengthen communities, secure the future development of the Philippines. There were calls to veto the entire budget and to revert to a reenacted one. However, this is not an option that we can afford. A reenacted budget will set us back, delay our vital programs, jeopardize targets for economic growth, including our goals of achieving single-digit poverty levels and upper middle income status. However, the executive branch is one with the people in raising concerns over appropriations that are not consistent with the country's development plan and responsive to the needs of the people. After all, it is our people whom we serve. We take our role as stewards of our taxpayers' money seriously. And for this reason, after an exhaustive and thorough review, we have directly vetoed over 194 billion worth of the line items that are not consistent with our program priorities. These include allocations for certain programs and projects of the Department of Public Works and Highways, and those under the unprogrammed appropriations, which increased by 300%. We shall also pursue conditional implementation on certain items to ensure that the people's funds are utilized in accordance with their authorized and stated purpose. Specifically, to ensure that government assistance is not merely a provisional solution to a persistent issue, we are compelled to subject the implementation of the Ayuda sa Kapos ng Kita program, or AKAP, to the convergence efforts of the DSWD, DOLE, and NEDA. This way, we ensure that its implementation will be strategic, leading to the long-term improvement of the lives of qualified beneficiaries, while guarding against misuse and duplication and fragmented benefits. This approach is anchored on a simple yet profound truth. The appropriation of public funds must not break the public trust. In the exercise of our budget execution function and our duty to ensure prudent fiscal management, we ensure that all increases in appropriations and new budgetary items shall now be subject to cash programming, applicable budget execution rules, and vetting and approval of the concerned offices. This way, we guarantee that these programs and projects are implementable and will redound to the benefit of our people. Sa sambayan ng Pilipino, nakikinig po kami sa inyo. Salamat po sa inyong pagkilatis sa ating national budget at sa pagpuna sa kaibahan ng isinumite ng Kongreso sa President's proposed budget. Kaya naman po, kahit Pasko, kaming lahat ay nagtrabaho upang pag-aralan ito. Ito po ang ipapasang General Appropriation Act ngayon. Kasama na ang mga veto ay resulta ng aming pagdinig sa inyong tugon. Nakakaasa naman po kayo sa budget na ito. Ipapagpatuloy at papalawigin pa natin ang ating serbisyo sa inyo, alinsunod sa ating Philippine Development Plan ng 2023 to 2028. Titiyakin namin na mananatiling prioridad ang social services. Kasama na rin dyan ang edukasyon ayon sa mandato ng ating saligang batas. Pati na rin ang kalusugan. Sisikapin din po natin na ipagpatuloy at ipapagpapatupad ang ating economic services, kasama ang infrastruktura at agrikultura, upang mapalakas pa ang ating ekonomiya at malabanan ang kahirapan na dulot ng pagtaas ng presyo ng bilihin at kalamidad. Titiyakin namin na maipapatupad ang mga plano upang maipababa ang presyo ng pagkain, lalong-lalo na ang bigas. Itutuloy namin ang mga hakbangin upang mapunan ang kakulangan sa mga gusaling pampaaralan at ang mga computer ng mga eskwelahan. Sisiguruhin natin na tuloy-tuloy at mas lalawig pa ang mga benepisyo ng lahat ng Pilipino sa ilalim ng PhilHealth. Through this budget, we will also prioritize green investments and disaster preparedness to safeguard our environment and ensure resilience against disasters. We shall drive innovation and enhance trade and investments to create more quality jobs and to improve productivity. To sustain these efforts, we are advancing governance reforms. We shall continue to improve our systems for a more efficient, transparent, and accountable government. Through digitalization, we shall streamline services, reduce bureaucratic delays, and combat corruption. Sa aking mga kasamahan sa pamahalaan, nais kong ipaalala ang ating tungkulin sa bayan. Gamitin natin ng wasto ang pondo ng ating bayan. Siguruhin natin na agarang masimula ng mga proyektong napopondohan at matapos ito ng naaayon sa programa at pondong inilaan dito. So as we close this year and step into a new chapter, let us remind ourselves of our shared responsibility. Nation building is not the work of government alone. It is a partnership that we make with every single Filipino. With unity, with determination and a clear vision, we can achieve a future where progress is felt in every home, in every community, every corner of this archipelago. Together, let us build a bagong Pilipinas, a nation of genuine and shared prosperity.
You just heard the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Immediately after Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. signed into law the General Appropriations Act, or GAA, for fiscal year 2025, the Department of Finance, or DOF, Department of Budget and Management, or DBM, National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, and Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, held a press briefing in relation to the GAA. Let us listen to the press briefing led by the Presidential Communications Office.
Magandang araw Malacañang Press Corps. Welcome sa ating press briefing ngayong araw, December 30. Pirmado na ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. ang 2025 General Appropriations Act. Layunin ng national budget na ipagpatuloy ang nasimulang mga proyekto ng Marcos administration sa ilalim ng Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028. Kasama natin ngayon para magbigay ng karagdagang detalye sa 2025 national budget ay sina Executive Secretary Lucas P. Bersamin, Department of Finance Secretary Ralph G. Recto, Department of Budget and Management Secretary Amena F. Pangandaman, National Economic and Development Authority Secretary Arsenio M. Balisacan, and Department of Public Works and Highways Secretary Manuel M. Bonoan. Good morning to our guests. May we ask Secretary Recto for his opening statement?
Thank you very much. Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. We are happy to announce that the President just signed into law the 6.326 trillion national budget for 2025, which we have carefully studied line by line. This is the government's most powerful tool to deliver the biggest growth and economic benefits for the Filipino people for next year. Makakasiguro po ang taong bayan na kami sa Department of Finance, lalo pa namin pagbubutihin ang aming trabaho para mapondohan ang mga proyekto at programa sa ilalim ng ating national budget. To put it into perspective, the 2025 national budget, as I said earlier, stands at 6.326 trillion, of which only 4.64 trillion are supportable by revenues. Ibig sabihin, sa susunod na taon, ang gastusin ng gobyerno ay aabot sa 17.3 billion kada araw, but only 12.72 billion per day will be financed by revenue collections every 24 hours. Kaya naman, sa laki po ng aming responsibilidad, 24 oras din magtatrabaho ang DOF para matugunan ang ating pangangailangan. At titiyakin namin na ang bawat sentimo ay mapupunta sa tamang proyekto at programa para sa bayan. Next year, we will strive to not just meet, but exceed our revenue targets to generate more resources, just as our strong fiscal performance this year has demonstrated. I'm happy to announce that total revenue collection for 2024 is expected to reach 4.42 trillion, surpassing the full year target of 4.27 trillion. As a percentage of GDP, the emerging revenues will climb to 16.7%, the highest in the last 27 years. And our emerging non-tax revenue for 2024 are expected to reach 606.6 billion, the highest ever recorded. These are all because of the hard work and contribution of the Bureau of Internal Revenue, the Bureau of Customs, the Bureau of the Treasury, our privatization team, and our GOCCs. So rest assured, we will work doubly hard to sustain this momentum and adhere to our medium-term fiscal program that reduces our deficit and debt gradually in a realistic manner, while creating more jobs, increasing our people's incomes, and decreasing poverty in the process. And on behalf of the economic team, we assure you that from here on, things will just get better because you have a government that works non-stop to deliver the benefits that will keep us progressing as a nation every day. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas. Manigong bagong taon sa inyong lahat.
Thank you, Secretary Recto. May we ask Secretary Pangandaman?
Good morning. Ano ba to? Hello. Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Happy New Year po sa ating lahat. Alhamdulillah at may budget na po tayo for 2025. First of all, we would like to thank our President, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., for personally being on top of reviewing the bicameral committee's version of the budget. While the Congress's version was quite different from the proposed budget that we submitted, we are grateful and relieved that the President has made sure that we do not end up with a reenacted budget. As you know, the power of the purse is with the Congress, because Congress is supposed to be the voice of the people. Hence, the Department of Budget and Management and even the President himself can only submit a proposed budget to Congress, and in the end, because we have a democratic process that we must follow and respect, we can only exercise what the Constitution provides, which is to veto certain items of the budget. After a careful review by the agencies concerned and with the guidance of our Executive Secretary, who is a former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, the President ensured that the budget remained true to our constitutional mandates while exercising his veto power to ensure that the budget ultimately continues to be directed to meeting our agenda for prosperity. Nakikinig po ang ating Pangulo sa taong bayan. That is why, among others, ang program appropriations, which increased by over 300% in the BICAM version of the budget, have been greatly reduced by direct veto. There will also be a conditional implementation of Ayuda sa Kapos ang Kita program or AKAP. Let us enter the new year with renewed hope and determination to achieve the goals towards a bagong Pilipinas that we all aspire for. On our end, patuloy lang po kaming magtatrabaho para sa mas magandang kinabukasan ng ating mga mamamayan at sa kaunlaran ng ating bayan. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Secretary Pangandaman. Secretary Balisacan.
Good morning, everyone. Let me express our gratitude to both chambers of Congress for their timely and diligent efforts in scrutinizing, formulating, and ensuring the passage of the 2025 General Appropriations Act. Their unwavering commitment to completing this critical task underscores the strength of our collective resolve in advancing the nation's development goals and President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s socioeconomic agenda. The 2025 GAA supports the goals outlined in the Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028, including attaining our medium-term growth targets as approved by the Development Budget Coordination Committee. The budget prioritizes strategic investments in social services with substantial allocations to education, health, and social welfare programs and infrastructure projects to boost growth and inclusion. These investments are crucial for achieving the PDP's targets related to human capital development and poverty reduction. In line with our commitment to public welfare and fiscal responsibility, the President, as we have heard this morning, has judiciously vetoed certain line items in the budget and set specific conditions for implementing certain programs and projects, including requiring the issuance of guidelines and compliance with pertinent laws, policies, rules, and regulations. This decisive action demonstrates the administration's commitment to our fiscal program by ensuring that planned spending remains within the target deficit ceiling, keeping us on track to meet our medium-term fiscal targets. At the same time, by tightening the conditions for utilizing the budget for various programs, the President ensures that the maximum benefits reach those most deserving of social protection, particularly the near poor. This approach supports inclusive growth by ensuring that economic benefits reach the lower income segments of society, directly contributing to the PDP's goals of reducing poverty and improving the quality of life for our vulnerable populations. As we roll out these projects and programs in the coming year, close collaboration between the executive and legislative branches remains vital. The coming year, 2025, marks a pivotal moment for our country as we enter the midterm of the Marcos administration. This milestone is an opportune time to assess our progress. As we continuously recalibrate our strategies, we assure our fellow Filipinos that we will sustain our gains and accelerate our efforts in areas where we need to catch up to meet our development targets. With today's ceremonial signing of the GAA, we reaffirm our commitment to building a matatag, maginhawa at panatag na buhay for all Filipinos. Let us move forward with optimism and determination, ensuring that every peso of the national budget translates into impactful programs and services that improve the lives of our people. Thank you and good morning once again.
Thank you, Secretary Balisacan. May we ask Secretary Bonoan for his opening statement?
Good morning, everybody. Well, we just like to express how deeply we are honored for the full trust and confidence that the President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and our legislators have extended to the Department of Public Works and Highways through the fiscal year 2025 budget. We are aware that every peso allocated to the Department of Public Works and Highways projects represents the hard-earned contributions of the Filipino people. It is therefore our responsibility to ensure that these funds are used wisely and efficiently, as well as professionally in the most transparent manner, proving ourselves deserving of the trust placed on us. We are committed to making every cent of their contributions worth by delivering quality infrastructure that drives the national progress. With this, we are tasked to implement more infrastructure projects that are crucial for the socio-economic development of our country. We are prepared to face potential challenges that may arise and remain steadfast in applying the significant lessons that we have learned over the years as we move forward to another year of service. Rest assured that the Department of Public Works and Highways will continue to work diligently in support of the Bagong Pilipinas agenda, advancing infrastructure that uplifts the lives of our fellow Filipinos. Mabuhay ang Bagong Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po.
You just heard the press briefing of the Presidential Communications Office along with the Secretaries of the Department of Finance or DOF, Department of Budget and Management or DBM, National Economic and Development Authority or NEDA, and Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has issued Executive Order or EO number 80 implementing the Schedule of Tariff Commitment under the Philippines Free Trade Agreement or FTA with South Korea. Under EO 80 signed on December 23rd, the President emphasized the need to modify the rates of import duty on certain imported articles for the country to comply with the Philippine Schedule of Tariff Commitments under the FTA. All articles listed in the Philippine Schedule of Tariff Commitments shall be subject to the rates of import duties at the time of importation according to the new EO. The Philippines and South Korea signed the FTA on the sidelines of the 43rd Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN Summit in Jakarta, Indonesia on September 7, 2023. Under the FTA, South Korea will grant preferential duty-free entry on 11,164 Philippine products, accounting for $3.18 billion or 87.4% of total Korean imports from the Philippines. The FTA will officially take effect on December 31st, the Korean Embassy in Manila earlier announced. This year, the Philippine Senate ratified the FTA on September 23rd, while the Korean National Assembly ratified the deal on November 14th. The FTA was signed to further strengthen economic partnership and bilateral trade by reducing and eliminating tariff restrictions in support of government efforts to manage competitive exclusion, encourage more foreign direct investments, and secure more preferential concessions than those currently available under existing agreements. Under the deal, the Philippines bats for zero tariff on tropical fruits such as banana and pineapple, which are the country's major exports to the East Asian trade partner.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, leaders of the House of Representatives expressed their sorrow over the passing of former Lanao del Sur Governor Soraya Alonto Adong, who died on Friday. She would have turned 81 on January 7, 2025. During the Marawi siege in 2017, Adong worked with the military and national agencies to safeguard lives and restore resilience during one of the province's darkest times, according to a statement. Among her children are Lanao del Sur 1st District Representative Zia Alonto Adong and Lanao del Sur Governor Mamintal Alonto Adong Jr. In a statement, House Speaker Martin Romualdez said, Governor Soraya was a devoted matriarch and an extraordinary leader whose unwavering commitment and courage profoundly impacted her constituents. Romualdez added that her hands-on leadership bridged the gap between the provincial government and its people. In a separate joint statement, House leaders said Governor Adong was a true mother to Lanao del Sur, demonstrating compassion and strength that saved countless lives and laid the foundation for recovery. Adong served as governor from 2016 to 2019.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, and Bank has upheld a decision disqualifying former Congressman Edgar Erice from running for Caloocan City's 2nd District post in the May 2025 elections due to his continued criticisms of the Automated Election System, or AES. In a 30-page decision released over the weekend, the NBank affirmed its 2nd Division's earlier ruling barring Erice from participating in next year's polls. The ruling stated that the integrity of elections is the cornerstone of democracy, and any act that undermines this foundation cannot be tolerated, adding, the respondent's disqualification is not merely justified but necessary to protect the sanctity of the electoral process. The Commission emphasized that Erice's actions to discredit the AES were central to the decision. The petition, filed by one Raymond Salipot, accused Erice of deliberately spreading false and alarming reports and circulating misleading messages to disrupt the electoral process and cause confusion among the voters as prohibited by the Omnibus Election Code. COMELEC highlighted the need to act decisively against Erice to safeguard public trust and prevent further attacks on the Commission's credibility.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, has denied the motion for reconsideration seeking to block the senatorial bid of detained Kingdom of Jesus Christ founder and alleged child abuser Apollo Quiboloy. In a 7-page ruling made public on Friday, the COMELEC and Bank dismissed the motion for reconsideration filed by Labor leader Sonny Matula, citing lack of merit. The COMELEC said no valid ground was raised in the motion that would compel the body to rule against the First Division. The NBank noted that the procedural and substantive issues raised by Matula had already been addressed by the First Division when it decided to allow the televangelist to run in the Senate. The poll body also emphasized that even if procedural flaws in the petition were overlooked, the substantive issues were exhaustively discussed and resolved by the First Division.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Philippines Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, has assured the necessary assistance to a Filipino domestic worker who was involved in the recent death of a child in her employer's household in Kuwait. In a statement Saturday evening, the DMW said it is deeply concerned about the case and extended its sincere condolences to the child's family in the Kuwaiti government. The Filipino domestic helper reportedly placed the Kuwaiti child inside a washing machine at her employer's residence. The parents rushed to rescue their son upon hearing his screams and brought him to the hospital where he died due to the injuries. The DMW said that this tragic incident is isolated and does not represent the values of Filipinos and overseas Filipino workers or OFWs who are known for their caring nature, professionalism, dedication, and hard work.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 9.475 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.820 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.